responsibility?
Well, this time of year, you're not calling plays. You're helping build your roster, and you're helping Trent Baalke and his team to, better the roster. But as you get into the regular season, it's there's a balance, there's a fine line there. You got to make sure that you are studying and preparing yourself to call a game, and at the same time, you're also managing the roster and who's going to be up on Sunday, who's not, and things like that. But that's why you compartmentalize things a lot, and just having done it now for 6 years, I don't want to say it gets easier, but the whole process gets a little simpler for you.
Trevor's an asset for you guys, quarterback sneaks. I'm wondering particularly how sneaks have evolved to push that part of the game. Do you think that should be viewed as part of the game? Should it not be, particularly with stacking guys behind it?
Well, I guess until they change the rule, it's going to be a part of our game. It'll be a topic at the league meetings, coming up at the end of March, and competition committee, I'm sure, is, looking at a lot of data and different things right now. Trevor's length helps. You alluded to that earlier. He was able to dive over the pile for a couple of touchdowns this year for us, and also, some valuable 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations. We have to get better as a football team. It's a valuable part, of anybody's offense. You saw what Philly did and has done with their offensive line and Jalen Hurts, and that's a great example of using the tools and resources you have to execute that play.
What are the traits that you look for most in that veteran backup kind of mentor or young person?
Well, number one, they've got to be able to, it's an unselfish role. You got to take a back seat because normally it's hard for a quarterback, especially a backup quarterback, because you want to play, right? And I think about our guy, C.J. Beathard. I think about even Nick Foles and Philly and myself and, Frank Reich we talked about. But the thing is, you want them to push the starter, but don't threaten the starter. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we've got a really good – it was great to get CJ signed for a couple of years, and he's the perfect guy for Trevor because he's a veteran guy. He's played. He's started games in this league. He knows our offense, and he can really be another set of eyes for Trevor. And that's what a backup does. And you push them from the standpoint of making Trevor better, but at the same time, you're never threatening that position, right? And CJ is the perfect. I know he wants to play, and he had an opportunity maybe last year, potentially, with Trevor's injury and all of that. But to me, that's what makes a solid backup.
What stands out to you about this year's draft class? Are there particular positions you see as having maybe more depth than others?
Yeah, every draft class every year is different, and for us as coaches, this is the first time too, that we get the chance to see these guys, because we just finished our season about a month ago, and so we're getting our first look at a lot of these guys, and there's some talent in this year's class, and that's the whole process. It's coaching and scouting coming together, and really having some great conversation, dialogue. You got to watch the film, you got to watch the tape, and make great evaluations, and prepare yourself for the upcoming draft.
Travis Etienne had his first real experience under his belt after this season. What did you like from him after that first year, and what are some things you're looking for him for next year?
I think the biggest thing for me was I loved his toughness, his physicality. I mean, he's not a big guy, but he's very physical when he runs, and can be elusive, got good speed, and he's just going to get better as a runner. When he gets a chance to go back and watch what he did last year in our system, there's going to be times where, he's going to go, I should have hit it here. I should, that's the growth mentality that he'll have, and just excited for him, get him back in our system again, second year, to watch the growth in him, and really how he bounced back from that injury year one in the foot to really be a really good impact player for us on offense.
Hey Doug, Jim Bob Cooter's getting a chance to be an offensive coordinator again. So just curious what your impressions were working with him, and what is he able to bring to the quarterback position, especially with a young quarterback?
Jim Bob was a great asset for myself, for Press Taylor, my offensive coordinator. A lot of wisdom and insight to the game. He studies the game, very diligent, and he's obviously been a coordinator before where he's called plays. So I just didn't want him to go into the division. But I'm happy for him. Great opportunity to be a coordinator again. And he'll have, obviously success, except twice a year. And really the way he's, when he was in Detroit, with Matthew Stafford, right? And then places he's been. He was a year in Philly, and he saw Jalen Hurts in that there. And, of course, with Trevor here. So he understands that position. And he'll be a big process, or a big influence, I think, in their process this year here in Indy. So happy for him. I hated to see him go, obviously, but I'm excited for him.
Chad Hall is wide receiver on his coaching staff.
Are you his friend?
No.
No, it's funny because I coached Chad. I was an assistant coach under Coach Reed in Philly when Chad came through, and I just love his work ethic. The fact that he's played the game, tough kid, great teacher, great motivator, a lot of energy. Those are all things that you love to see out of that receiver room. He's coached some really good, Stephon Diggs. He's coached some great players, obviously, and so we're excited. I mean, he was, when he became available, he was definitely the guy I wanted to get.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
So I wanted to know, we saw a lot of things click on offense this year. How are you preparing to take that to the next level this year?
Great question. There were a lot of things that clicked. It wasn't easy. Early in the season, we kind of struggled. We had some miscues in the red zone, and Trevor wasn't, as polished as he was back half of the season. But, that's one of the things as coaches, we got to take the good and we got to build on that. And so that's what we're doing now in the off season as a staff, is looking at all our positive plays, the things we did well, whether it's run or pass, and then making them better for 23. And then again, we get to implement that stuff, in the off-season program coming up in mid-April, and then ultimately in training camp. So, so many times in so many years, there's a lot of one-hit plays, right? Plays you think are going to work. You push them aside and you just focus on who you are as a team. As watch Trevor's plays and see what he did well and build on that for this year.
Doug, when it comes to guys like Trayvon and Devin, what's really the emphasis to get them to take that second year lead, like a couple of different guys just last year?
I think the biggest thing for both of those players, Chad, Luke, you throw those guys in the mix, is the fact that they're finally going to have an off season to themselves, and they can rest, they can heal, and they can begin to go back and watch their performances right within the defense. I think all three of those guys, really four of those guys, put Luke in there too. They're going to be so much better this year from the standpoint of knowing and understanding the game, how it's to be played, how it's to be practiced during the week, how to be a pro, how to study, how to take care of your body. I think those are all aspects of becoming a professional football player. And so all of those guys, that's what they're going to take away, and that's what they can lean on, moving on to 23.
We've got Marvin Jones coming on free agency. Obviously, Calvin Ridley coming in. But obviously, Calvin Ridley coming in, Marvin Jones going on free agency. How important is it to have that kind of ball-winning wide receiver in your offense? Would you say?
Well, when it comes to Calvin right now, he's not with us yet. We're still waiting the ruling. We're anticipating that, obviously, and if and when that comes, obviously we'll be excited. Marvin helped us win a lot of games this year. He was kind of Trevor's go-to guy in certain situations. And you saw him make the great catch in the Baltimore game, and for the touchdown there, and all really throughout the course of the season, very unselfish player, and we'll just have to see. Again, would love to get all our players back. and just seeing where it's gonna play out. I mean, again, you can't sign them all. You want them all, but you can't. It's part of this business, and whatever happens, I know Marvin's going to be, whether he's with us or somebody else, he's going to give it 110% wherever he's at.
Back in Philly,
We'll
you
get
had a
one more.
rotation of running backs, like 3 or 4. Are you looking to have like a similar rotation in Jacksonville? Because right now you only really have, you just re-signed Hasty, but Etienne. But are you looking to maybe add more running backs?
Yes. You knew that was coming. I think in today's game you got to have 2 to 3 guys. They got to be able to carry the load. You're talking about a 18-week, 17-game schedule in the postseason. It's wear and tear on guys, and so we haven't seen enough of Snoop Connor yet either, but we like him, and we know what Jermichael can do. We obviously know what TJ Etienne can do. And so, you're always looking to have 2, 3, 4 guys that can work the rotation at any given time, And I would say this, the last thing I would say is I like him to play special teams as well. And so that's a big part of the, I think the impact of a running back is being able to play special teams. All right, thanks.